Today, the brand new Sevendust album was released upon the world, and I think it's time we listen to it. This is One. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another album review / reaction here on the channel. My name is Patrick Musilek, and I am so excited because today is the day we have brand new Sevendust. We also have brand new Black Keys, but honestly, who cares about that? When we have brand new Sevendust, that's what I'm all about today, and that's what I'm here to record. I am so excited for this. I have not heard anything from this album yet. I don't know how many singles they've released. Here, I have the album pulled up. Hold on, I'll show you guys here. I have the album pulled up on Spotify. It looks like there's several songs that have been released. There's only 10 songs on the album. This is actually my first time looking at this right now. 39 minutes, so it's pretty short relatively. But we have almost 1 million plays on Is This the Real You? So that's probably the first single they released. And then is Unbreakable, then was Threshold, and then Construct. And it looks like Threshold has a music video. We're not going to be watching the music video in this video, but all the songs look pretty interesting. Some of them look pretty short. We'll see. Based on everything they've been saying about this album, I'm not too sure how heavy this album is going to be, but it might be their heaviest album yet. It might not. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm very excited for this. I really, really, really enjoyed the last Sevendust album, Truth Killer, a lot. I actually think it's one of their best albums in their entire catalog. Sevendust is a band who I have kept up with since I first discovered them back when Seasons came out, I believe, is the first album of theirs that I bought. I was aware of, Praise, what was their song? Praise. One of their biggest albums, Animosity, and then the song, what was it? Praise. Yeah, just Praise. See, I knew what I'm talking about. Praise, and then Angel's Son, of course, which is sort of the ballad from that album, but Praise, obviously. But then Seasons was the album that I kind of found them, I guess, with and fell in love with them, then went back and fell in love with their album Home. I think this is the album called Home. Yeah, Home. And so I've just been a big fan of theirs for a long time. I have other videos here on the channel where I did a reaction to Truth Killer specifically last album. And so at the beginning of that video, I talked a lot about my feelings of Sevendust sort of overall. I showed off all of the Sevendust CDs that I had, went through their discography a little bit, and gave my thoughts on some of their albums. So I'm not going to do any of that stuff in this video. This video is just going to be me sitting here listening to this album. I'm really excited, and I'm just pumped for this. So I have high expectations. I've been seeing people posting throughout the day today on Facebook that this album is really good. And so I'm very excited for it. I've had some people in our Discord say that they are enjoying it. And I've had some people in comments of other videos that I have posted here on the channel recently going specifically to those videos to send me a comment saying, hey, the new Sevendust album is out today. And trust me, I know I've had this one in my calendar for quite a long time. So but before we get into Sevendust and all that stuff, I just want to say we have links for everything in the description of this video, including I'll put timestamps in the video, so if you want to skip to any different song or just hear my overall thoughts at the end, that's fine. I also have links to our Ko-fi account if you want to donate to us, and the certain projects that I've released recently will be down there. I'll put a link to the Truth Killer reaction in there as well if you want to check that out. But yeah, all that stuff is going to be in the description. And then also, before we get going here, I'm excited because I don't drink soda pop very much anymore since my transplant last year. I've been trying to maintain a healthy weight, and it's hard to do that. But in celebration for the Red album and everything, I've got myself a Red Mountain Dew here, one of my favorite beverages of all time. And I've got myself some blue juice in the bottom of a glass. That's my ice. And why not? Why, if you're gonna have a cheat day, or if you're gonna go big or go home, right? So here's a purple Twizzlers. I'm gonna use it as a straw, but anyway, I am very excited for this album and for this beverage as well. But I do want to discuss very briefly before we get into listening to the album, though, a few things that I've heard about this album and things that actually get me even more excited about the album, if you can believe it or not. So I remember hearing when they first released a single a couple of months ago or weeks ago. I'm not sure exactly when they released the first single for this. I think it was a while ago. I never listened to any of it. I haven't heard a second of this yet, so I'm a little trepidatious about the production. And I guess I'll start this conversation off by saying that, as much as I said, and I've said I've enjoyed Sevendust over the years, I do not think everything that they've made has been fantastic. I think they clearly have some albums that had like mastering issues and overcompression issues. They've had, members leave and come back. They've had ups and downs throughout their career, as any band who's been around for this long has. And so I really enjoy some of their albums a lot, and some of their albums I kind of take and just kind of leave. Haven't listened to them as much. But I will say my favorite albums of theirs are Truth Killer, and these are not in order, but Truth Killer, I really love Chapter 7, Hope and Sorrow. I think that album is fantastic. And I love I should have looked this up. The the Flaw. What was that? What's the Kill? It's not one that people talk about very much. Kill the Flaw. See, I kind of know what I'm talking about, but Kill the Flaw, I really love that one. It's not mixed the best, but I really love the songs on there. Cold Day Memory is great as well. Honestly, Next is great as well. But Chapter 7, Hope and Sorrow is one of my favorites, along with Truth Killer and, of course, Home and Seasons. And I love that they have the clean version of Animosity and Seasons on here. That's awesome. That's so cool. I'm glad that they have those for people to be able to listen to those. So that's really great. I'm happy with that. But so just kind of throw that out there. Those are some of my favorite albums of theirs. I really don't have any of their albums that I don't care for at all. I don't like the way that their debut album is mixed, really, at all. I think that it is the closest I've ever heard an album come to sounding like live music, without being a live recording, and I do not think that's good. I personally don't think that live music sounds very good, and when you go to a concert, you're not going there for the quality of the music, the high fidelity of the music. You're going there for the shared experience, and I think that that's cool, but that's not really what I enjoy about music. I enjoy the music aspect of it, and specifically for me, coming from a more audio engineering perspective, I enjoy very high quality production, and I do believe the best production they've had on any of their albums. I do think Seasons is fantastic. That was probably the biggest budget they had to spend. I think Next sounds really good as well. I think that Truth Killer, though, is one of the best sounding albums that they've had. That's their most recent one up until this one. And I love the mixture of the electronics on it. And the fact that the guitars aren't necessarily the focal point in a lot of the songs. I really enjoy that. I think Lejean's voice sounds fantastic on that album. I think that the production is really good. For some reason, the single from that album, which is the final song called Fence, I think it is the worst sounding song on that album, and I don't know why that was chosen to be a single. Maybe it was just done earlier or whatever, but I remember when that came out being very disappointed with it, and then when I did my actual reaction, just being floored by how fantastic the album sounded and how good the songs were and how interesting everything was and how the album kept my attention the entire time. Nothing felt samey. It felt very interesting and very gratifying to listen to this as someone who's been a Sevendust fan for a long time. So I really enjoyed Truth Killer, and that gives me a lot of hope for this album. But there's something else about this new album as well that like I mentioned, that I want to bring up because I think it's something that is important, and it's something that's important to me on a personal level. And so I just want to read here, and I had read a little bit about this when the album was, when they announced the album a couple months ago or however long ago, saying that they were getting more in touch with their faith in terms of this album. And so I just want to read today, 10 hours ago, as of me, I think, recording this, or at least saving this screenshot, which was at 7:52. It's now 10 o'clock, so 2 hours ago, so 12 hours ago, it doesn't matter. This is what Clint Lowry posted on his Facebook page and probably all of his social media stuff. And I think that it's important, and I want to read this. So it says, well, 15 records. None of us would have believed it. There's something special in the air on this tour, and it's been building over the past year. Despite challenges, uncertainty, and struggle, I've personally found a deep relationship with Christ. To me, that's the shift. The shift in our band, our bond, our connection with you. And you is lowercase u, so I think he's meaning the fans, the people who come to see them. We're feeling a level of appreciation and growth we haven't felt before. Fans young, old, and everywhere in between. And then he goes on to say, for years, I didn't truly thank God for this gift, the ability to create, to survive, to provide for my family through music. Lately, I've stopped chasing money, credit, and praise, and started chasing God, love, forgiveness, and gratitude. Staying in my Bible, staying grounded. And he says, I found joy in my faith, joy in suffering, joy in challenges, joy in all of it, because I trust God has a plan. And then it goes on to say, I want to thank our band/brothers, and he tags everyone in it. Everyone contributes to the process, the energy, the chemistry. We are a band. It's an honor to be in this band. He also wanted to thank their management, which I think is awesome. People behind the scenes don't often get a lot of credit, so I'm very glad that he did that. And then he also said the production team, who became other members of this band. And I thank him for thanking the production team. Now, he might be talking about their live show production and everything, but I'm hoping he includes in that as well, just in the general thank you, the people who helped produce this album, the people who recorded it, the mixing engineers, the audio engineers, the recording engineers, the mastering engineer, the techs, the people who are helping, all of those people, the unsung people who in the music industry very, very, very rarely get any sort of thanks or praise for the work that they do, which in my opinion is one of the most important pieces of music in general, because I care so much about how the quality of the music is, how the album sounds, and the people, you can have a fantastic band make a really bad sounding album. And I try not to take it for granted when bands that I enjoy really do release good sounding albums, because when you get a band that you love that releases a bad sounding album, it just is like a sore thumb. It sticks out so bad in their discography. And any band, no matter how big or small, can release a crappy sounding album. And so I'm very happy that he's thanking production people in this, and I'm glad that people are starting to finally get the thanks that they deserve for things like that. And I just want to say, I want to read the last little bit of this. He said, so again, this is still from Clint. I want to dedicate this record to my Savior, Jesus Christ, the One. Make no mistake, there are songs on this record written for him, written to him, for him. Songs of suffering, hope, his glory, and his presence. Call it Christian metal, call it what you want. It's an offering to God. And then he says, and lastly, my wife and their 2 children. The best thing to ever happen to me. I'm thankful for my wife, who is my best friend, my 2 kids I adore, I am inspired by, and I would die for. And he says, a year and a half ago, God gave me a trial that reshaped my life. For that, I'm grateful. So I don't actually know what trial God sent him a year and a half ago. But I know for me personally, about 2.5 years ago was when I was diagnosed with leukemia. And so I have gone through my own trials, and I have grown up being a person of faith. I am Catholic. I have been Catholic. I was baptized when I was a baby, and I remained Catholic and a practicing Catholic my entire life. So I think that this is really great. For me, seeing something like this and a band that I respect a lot, who have not necessarily been known to be a Christian band at all. I mean, there were definitely signs of this on Truth Killer, 100%. And I specifically noticed it. But like, I Might Let the Devil Win and Holy Water, stuff like that. There are signs on Truth Killer, I feel even then, 3 years ago, that they were leaning a bit more in this direction, or at least thinking about it. And again, the dudes are older. Right? Everyone is older every day, hopefully, God willing. But you can tell it's fun to me to be a fan of a band for so long that you can see the maturity happening, and Sevendust just feels like they are at the best that they've ever been, especially, like I said, Truth Killer really impressed me. And one of the reasons I'm so excited to listen to this is because of how good that album was, their renewed focus, and whether this album, I don't expect this album to be like praising God and stuff like that. I don't expect it to be a worship album, and I don't necessarily want it to be that. I just want it to be true to them, and I want it to be what they wanted to make at this time and have no limitations. And so I hope that's the case. Now, one thing I see when I look at this that really speaks to me personally is that there are no songs with explicit lyrics on this album, which is something that if you are familiar with our channel here, you know I edit out every swear word in these videos because it's important to me that anybody of any age or any belief system could watch our videos if they want to without being offended, at least by bad language. You can be offended by my stupidity or some of the bad takes we have here on the channel. That's totally fine. But I don't want people to be offended by language. And I've always been someone that comes from a very strict household. We do not use foul language in our household. Growing up, we very rarely do. You know, sometimes I suppose for comedic effect or something like that, but never out of anger. And Sevendust has had a lot of songs with swear words in them throughout their entire career. And it's never ruined Sevendust for me. It's never bothered me that much. But I get the clean versions of their albums when I can. I think I'm one of the only people that I know of that has a clean version of Chapter 7, Hopes and Sorrows. And there's actually one song on there, one of my favorite songs on that album, where they forgot to, I think what happened was they forgot to actually go through and professionally edit out one of the swear words from that song. And so before they sent it to master, they just cut the swear word out. So there's actually a space of blank silence. It's one of the least professional audio things I've ever experienced on a big band's professional release. There's just a second, like a split second of silence in the middle of one of the Sevendust songs on Chapter 7 when they had an expletive in there. So anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. I'm going on and on a lot. But I just want to say, for me personally, I'm very happy to see this, and I'm happy that they are getting closer to what they're aiming for, I guess, at least for now. So that's very awesome. I'm very happy about that. And I'm ready to listen to this album, I think. I'm hoping the production is good. I know I've said that now multiple times, but just because their last album was phenomenally produced and had a lot of great extra things, I love it when Sevendust uses extra things, extra production things, when they have long intros for songs. That's one of the things I love about Hope and Sorrow so much, is that a lot of the songs have these intros with these electronic sections, and then they're not afraid to have layers of things within the songs that aren't guitar, bass, drums, vocals, right? They have some piano, they have acoustic guitar, they have things like that. And then on Truth Killer, they had a lot of, electronic drum beats, they had synths, they had all sorts of cool stuff on there that I absolutely adored and loved. And so I'm really hoping that they keep that aesthetic musically going into this album, because I loved that aspect of Truth Killer, along with the fact that it was heavy, along with the fact that it was catchy, along with the fact that, that the songs were just a joy to listen to. I want that to continue here. So we'll see. But Sevendust is one of those bands where they can do kind of whatever they want from album to album, but they're usually very consistent within each album. So if this album is more stripped back and it is more like them being a band, like some of their previous albums have been without all the sprinkles, as we talked about here on the channel, I refer to things that are in the songs that are basically being done by someone that isn't a member of the band, like live, as the sprinkles, right? So all the stuff I mentioned, the synths, the programmed drum beats, the distortion stuff, sound effects, piano, things like that. Like there is no piano player in Sevendust, or keyboard player. So those sprinkles, I hope that they're keeping those sprinkles in the song, but on this album. But if they decided they didn't want to do that, they wanted to have a bit more stripped back, bare bones approach, that's fine too. It won't speak to me as much, but we'll just have to see. So enough with all of this. Let's get into the album. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you so much for checking this out. I have the album pulled up here. We're going to be listening on Spotify. I have Lossless turned on. Let's get into it. This is Sevendust with their brand new album that was just released today called One. This is track 1 called One. In 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. First impression, it's low passed quite a bit. We'll see what happens when the vocals kick in. As of right now, the lyrics are not on Spotify, and I'm not a lyric person, so I'm not going to focus on the lyrics too much unless something jumps out at me. Okay, the guitars are very low passed. Lejeune sounds good, but overall, I'm not super impressed with the mix so far. And it can vary from song to song. It sounds like it's getting smushed quite a bit. The kick drum feels nice and punchy. I love the groove here. Lejeune's vocals are very present in the mix. Vocals are very big. The vocals are definitely the most prominent thing in the mix. Also, I have to just shout out with all this One stuff, it makes me think of Roman Reigns a little bit. I'm not a fan of Roman Reigns, but I am a fan of the WWE, so... Okay, solo, let's go. I love it when they do solos. For a big chunk of their career, they did not do any solos. Ooh, okay, nice length. Okay, we got some strings in there. So they're definitely... I feel like the music is getting drowned out during the chorus here. Those cymbals are basically non-existent. They're really fighting to stay in the mix at all. Okay, interesting. My first impression, the production here is lacking. There was definitely things were fighting. Okay, we'll see what happens. Maybe that was just the one song on the album that doesn't sound as good. We'll see. It's happened before with Sevendust. We got nice piano here. Piano sounds nice. Okay, the mix sounds the same. It's very lacking in high frequencies. We'll try something here. I do this sometimes in my videos when we encounter an album like this that for some reason all the high frequencies have been hacked off. I am going to throw a EQ on the track and boost the high frequencies, and I'm going to do it right. Now we'll listen to this song a little bit like this. You should be hearing this, the high frequencies being boosted. I'm just putting like a high shelf on it, boosting all the high frequencies over probably like 2K or so. Because for some reason, that's what feels like it's missing. I'm sorry I'm talking over this song so much, but as great as this song might be written, to me, if it doesn't sound up to the quality that I expect from a band like this, it's disappointing. And the quality is very disappointing because there's no high frequencies. So now during this chorus, I'll take that EQ off, right? Now, if I'm right in my thinking, that was a jarring thing you just heard, where all the high frequencies got sucked out of the song, right? This is the way that they're presenting the album to you right now. Let's throw the EQ back on. It almost sounds like an MP3, like a low-quality MP3. There's so much artifacting on those cymbals. They are just getting pushed to nothing. Like this does not feel big at all, right? It feels small, actually. Way smaller than the verses felt. And that is a compression thing, and generally that is a mastering thing. The guitars just have no crispy frequencies to them at all. There's no bite to anything. The whole mix is so round, they've just removed the high frequencies from the entire mix. This is very disappointing. Very disappointing. It's amazing. It's amazing that this can happen with such an awesome band after having what I think is probably the best produced album they've had. And Sevendust has done this before, where they'll have a fantastic sounding album, and then their next album just sounds like just terrible. And I'm not saying that this is terrible. I'm not saying that this is terrible, but it's not big. It doesn't sound big. It just sounds muddy. Oh, dang it. Okay, track 3. Is this the real you? I'm going to try to focus on the songs now and not be too disappointed in the mix, but it's going to be hard for me to get over it, and I apologize to everybody. Okay. Right away here, you can hear more high frequencies in those guitars. They're crunchier. Less compression. Oh, I love that. Haven't had a lot of Morgan vocals yet. Now the song just sounds like the energy got sucked out of it completely. The guitars have nothing to them. It might as well just be a bass guitar at this point. Right? Listen to the guitars. What are they even doing? They're a little bit more present, right? There are no vocals, though. Here you can hear more cymbals. A little bit. guitar solo, maybe. I love it when they all do vocals. I mean, everyone in this band can sing, so it's awesome to have everybody in there together. And when Lejean and Morgan go back and forth, love it. And I like Corey's vocals too, or Clint's vocals. I mean, it's groovy. It sounds like Sevendust, just kind of underwater. Or looking through some sort of a filter. All right, moving into track 4, Threshold. I'm really sorry if everybody's bummed that I am not enjoying this, but I can't get over the fact that it doesn't sound good. It's the most important part to me about music. And, you know, maybe the rest of the songs on the album will be fantastic sounding, but so I apologize, but that's cool. Acoustic guitar there for a sec, maybe? I like the melodies here. So far, all the melodies have been good in the choruses. I do think the previous track was my favorite one on the album so far. A lot of vocals going on by everybody in the band, and that really, I like that. This one's pretty straightforward. All the songs so far have definitely felt like Sevendust songs. There hasn't been anything that surprised me. The bass is very big in the middle. Bass guitar. It just kind of feels like the song, the whole mix is fighting with itself to not get swallowed up, if that makes sense. And it just sounds like a bad quality MP3. And maybe it's possible that my listening to this on Spotify could have something to do with that, but I'm listening lossless, and I have listened to hundreds and hundreds of fantastic sounding albums here on Spotify, including other Sevendust albums. So I don't think it's that, but sometimes when I complain about production stuff here or point things out, people are like, oh, well, you're listening on Spotify. Well, I've done a lot of listening to Spotify in this exact same environment with these same headphones, and I have heard great sounding albums, so I don't think it's Spotify. So, okay, all right, now we're going on to track 5, We Won. Ooh, cool, all right. Ooh, that's cool. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. That's a groove. Now, I want to say, they do have a lot of things going on in the background. This sounds like a string part back there. And LeJean's voice sounds great. Ooh, a lot of vocals, love it. Oh, whoa, whoa. Love this riff. This is cool. This is a neat groove. So this one, the chorus actually feels like it got a little bigger, but the rhythm guitars are basically non-existent here. But the guitars are doing kind of a type of thing as well, so they're not pushing the like bigger, chunkier stuff. Okay. Liked the solo there, liked how far away it felt different. There was like a pedal effect, I believe, on it. Some kind of a chorusing, flanging effect, but it was neat. The vocals kept going over the top of it. I love the vocal part here, that oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Very cool, very catchy. It just all sounds like it's swimming underwater. Here, let's throw that high frequency EQ on it. Right now we're boosting the highs. Let's take them off. To me, it's all like a mastering thing. It's being compressed so much. That sounds good, right? When they were doing that riff. Okay, we're moving into track 6, Construct. So this says this production and engineering on Spotify. It lists Studio Barbarossa, recording engineer, Studio Barbarossa, and then Brad Blackwood is listed as the mastering engineer, and Michael Elvis Basquette as the mixing engineer / studio producer. Big, massive snare hits there. Sounds like there's almost reverb on the guitars there. The crunchy stuff. Well, not the crunchy stuff. The rhythm guitars. I have to say, Lejean is like killing it this whole time. His voice is the most present thing. It's kind of, everything else is getting... Oh, hold on, this sounds interesting. Very mushed. But Lejean is, everything else is feeling like it's getting squashed. It's not Lejean's fault, obviously, but his voice is present and there, the correct volume the entire time. Everything else is what's getting smushed. But for him being so present and so in the mix and the loudest thing you're hearing, even though his voice doesn't have any high frequencies in it either, because the whole master, the whole track was carved out, he's singing fantastically, as he always does, but fantastic. All the vocals have been really great across the album, regardless of who is doing it. All right, track 7, Bright Side. I guess what I need to start doing on the channel, I'll bring it up at the end. Sorry. I hate to be a downer. I really do. Big. See, when he's playing the hi-hat, it doesn't sound as bad. Close hi-hat, because there's nothing getting smushed in the cymbals. Ooh, he's singing lower there. I like the lead guitar thing over this here. It's an interesting part. Made the chorus feel bigger, made it feel like a separate part. It is very hard sometimes to look at the bright side of things if we want to talk about the lyrics a little bit, but you just kind of have to. There's no alternative. The alternative is just giving into the despair, right? And that's why, for some people, your faith can come in and can really help a lot. I know for me personally, it's helped me a lot, especially over the last few years. All right, track 8, The Drop. Ooh, is this gonna be... Oh, no, okay. Ooh, very cool. The massive bass guitar. Like, the guitars sound kind of not better here. There's a bit more space to the mix. It doesn't feel as smothered. So this song sounds a little better, I would say, so far. See, now in this song, Lejean's vocals sound a little lower. So his voice feels way lower here. It's allowing the music to be a little bit more present, though. But I would say there, during that chorus, his vocals felt too low. This sounds nice. There's more crispies. Oh, swear word in there. I'm surprised. Not that they can't swear at all. They didn't say they were a Christian band or anything like that. But I'm surprised. If that's what the word was. There's no lyrics for this song, so I can't check it out. I could be wrong. Could have misheard. So even though I don't think this song sounds that great, I think this is the best mixed song on the album that I've heard so far. I'm curious to see if track 10 will be like a ballad song. That one could sound completely different. That might be the best mixed one. Or maybe the penultimate song. But this song, just by the fact the vocals are a little bit lower, it allows the music to sit up in the mix a little bit more in terms of, and I feel like there's just a little bit more high frequencies, at least in the guitars during parts of it. Right? This sounds fantastic. Totally different than that chorus we just heard, though. And that's a compression thing. All right, moving into the penultimate track, track 9, Blood Price. I have to say, I do love all of the extra things they're putting in the songs. Almost every song has extra points in there, or extra sprinkles, like I was talking at the beginning of the video, but they get drowned out. Mud. And we haven't heard a Morgan vocal for a long time. This is heavy. I I love it when we get aggressive Lejeune vocals, which I don't think we... I think that was Clint and Morgan there, but might have been Lejeune. But I love it when we get aggressive Lejeune vocals. Haven't had a lot of that here. And I feel like he's done a little bit less their last batch of albums, but that's fine. I don't mind it when Sevendust isn't super heavy, though I do. My favorite albums of theirs are the ones where they do get heavier. Like I love, like I said, Next, Alpha. I love that kind of stuff. And some of the heavier stuff on like Blood and Stone, maybe. Whoa! 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 Wow, that was the heaviest vocal I think I've heard in a Sevendust song ever. Nice guitar solo. Haven't had a lot of it throughout the album. Volume of the solo is fine. I always think of it like a solo instrument should always be around the same volume as the lead vocal. Maybe a smidge lower, just a little bit, but it should be in the same pocket volume as the lead vocal. And there are certain situations where that's not true, but I'm okay with that volume. I think that's Clint. All right, we're moving into the final track. Here on the channel, we talk a lot about final song vibes. I hope this next song has final song vibes, final track vibes. Misdirection, track 10. I was expecting acoustic guitar, so we'll see. And if not, that's awesome. Like I said, whatever, but... Ooh, piano.
I saw a man on the mountain. He told me I had lost my way. He knew without even asking. He took my hand, he knew my name.
I mean, I'm loving this. Let's get all the vocals going, baby.
My darkness, he saw into my heart, my fate. He said, let love find you when you're deep in doubt, but so away.
Pretty, very pretty. Love the synth. Ooh, that dry palm muted guitar. Dum, 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 dum. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it made that transition nice. Didn't feel like it got smaller. It should have felt like it got bigger there, even though the sub frequencies and everything went away. It felt like it got bigger, so that's good. feel like throughout the album, the higher pitched guitar thing that's happening here, the sort of more background to that guitar part, that should be a background part, and the rhythm guitars should be more prominent. And I think throughout the entire album, they have really sacrificed and pushed down the rhythm guitars, the meat of the band, to allow those things to sit on top of everything. And that's one of the things that I feel like might be contributing a bit to the fact that certain things are getting lost in the mix. Lost in the mix. Massive piano. See, feel the space here. Feel the space in the mix. Listen to the crunchiness of the guitars. It doesn't sound great, but you know, there's headroom. There's space in the mix. Doesn't feel like anything's being squashed too bad, at least. There's like a string patch in there that's a little bit more present than it needs to be. I love the treatment on that distorted treatment on the vocals, the lead vocal that started the song off, and then this part again. Dun 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 dun. That should have been done in a higher octave and pushed back a little further. It's the same octave that everything else is happening in. It's So that song definitely had final track vibes. Ugh. Oh boy. I am very disappointed in this. I am so sorry to anybody who is watching this, like that you've heard the album, you love it, you connected with it, it meant so much to you, you bonded with it on a deep level, and you came here hoping to experience me having that experience, and all I could do was sit here the entire time and talk about how bad I think it sounds. That is my priority. I want everything I listen to sound fantastic. And I don't think in today's day and age that there's a very good excuse to have your album sounding bad, I guess, which I would actually categorize this is bad. This is bad sounding. The mix is bad. I think a lot of it had to do with mastering, and it is being compressed poorly. There are things, the entire mix felt like it was fighting with itself. The only thing that felt like it was treated with respect at all musically, or in the mix, was the Lejean's vocals. And arguably, with this, it is the most important thing that's happening. So I do think that it deserves to be treated with the most respect. However, everything else got really dumped on, in my opinion here. And again, I am so sorry, whatever. If someone's super mad at me for complaining the whole time, you're not here anymore. So I appreciate it if you're still watching me and sticking through with this. This was one of my most anticipated albums this year, And we have had so many great albums come out this year that I've been looking forward to, and almost every single thing has been hitting really hard for me, and like really doing, and what I mean by that is everything's been really good. I haven't had a disappointment like this yet on the channel this year. And it happens multiple times every year, it seems like, where some band just decides to get rid of all the high frequencies in their mix. And I wish that was the only thing that was wrong with this, but it's not. And I don't even think the fact that the high frequencies are missing from this mix is the thing that's the worst part of it. I think objectively the worst part is how smushed everything is just smushed beyond belief. The cymbals are like, it sounds like they're artifacting, like low quality MP3 artifacting. And that's bad. That's bad. The cymbals sounded terrible during a majority of the album. And I can say with confidence that it is the compression that's ruining this album, because during the moments where there were no vocals and there was just a heavy riff but with space left in it, you could feel the headroom. You could feel the space that the song was living in, and it didn't feel like anything was trying to get pushed into a hole that was too small for it. You could feel breath to it. And some of the songs, especially at the beginning during the intro riffs, when the crunchy guitars and everything comes in, it sounded okay. It definitely sounded passable. And then when the vocals came in, and then especially when the choruses came in, and there were layers of higher frequency things over the top of it, but there are no high frequencies in the mix to allow for anything to sit on top of anything, everything just kind of became this smushed mass of mid-range to low-range frequencies. And I feel like it was objectively, I mean, I would say this is probably the worst sounding Sevendust album. So one thing I want to do now, and hopefully this will help illustrate what I'm talking about, and maybe we'll listen to, what I want to do is listen to some samples of other Sevendust albums, just right here on Spotify, recording everything the same way I have been, and hopefully you'll hear what I'm talking about. And maybe I'm full of crap, right? Maybe we'll listen to these and I'll be like, oh my gosh, Truth Killer sounds just like this album. I don't know what I was hearing this whole time, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So let's go up here to, we'll just pick Unbreakable, right? We'll listen to a bit of it. Right away, it sounds just smushed to me. So let's go to Truth Killer. So it's not louder, and I didn't expect it to be louder, but the mix is so much nicer. You can hear things, you can feel things, the low frequency. Here's a heavier part, right? And there isn't a lot of high frequencies in this either. So we're not listening to the high frequencies here, because they're scooped out of this too, for sure. But the mix is less smushing down on itself. And I mean, I could even cheat and do this, right? Right, this sounds fantastic. Let's go to Construct. Let's just go back to Blood and Stone and hear the mix. A much quieter album, right? But the mix. Vocals are nice. The song much clearer. You can hear headroom in the mix. You can hear a space. The guitars are nice on the outsides. You can hear what they're doing. I don't even know if I should do this. And live on. right? This is just, it's like something smeared. It's like this song is smeared over something. This is from, oh, hold on, I can do, sorry, I should have done this the whole time so you can see what we're listening to. So this is We Won.
Help me find something real inside.
More high frequencies here. Listen to the hi-hats, to the cymbals. So you can hear the cymbals. And I don't think this is like the best mixed thing in the world either. Here's Kill the Flaw, the album Kill the Flaw, and my favorite song on this one is Chop. So this is like 5 dB louder. I'm not saying that's better. Loud does not equate better. So listen to the kick drum here. No punchiness to it at all. We'll go back to 1. We'll go to Threshold. Cymbals. This actually sounds pretty good. We'll go back to 1. Chapter 7 has more high frequencies. Hopefully you guys can kind of hear what I'm talking about there. It's comparable for sure. Like to someone that doesn't listen to production stuff, I could see how listening to everything we just did there, you probably noticed differences, but you were like, I don't know if this is like, that different. And I can understand someone that doesn't focus on production stuff as much, how you could see that and easily not be bothered by that. But I really do think that this album really feels like the songs are just smeared. There's no definition to anything. And especially during the choruses, it really feels like it's getting smushed. Now in listening to some of that other stuff, like I said, the kick here sounds way better than the kick did on some of what we just heard. But overall, I definitely, this is just smushed. It just feels smushed to me. So man, that is such a bummer. That is just such a bummer to me. And I hate it when I do reactions like this, because there are people who see this reaction, and it's the first video you've seen on our channel, and you probably, well, I can't tell you what you think, but like, I have gotten comments before of people like, you just focusing on the wrong thing. You stop it. You know, you're hyper focusing on this one thing. And like all you're doing is being negative. Like you didn't focus on any of the positives and this. And it's like, I understand. And I think that's a totally fair criticism of my tiny part of what this is, this review, this reaction. But like I said, production is the most important thing to me. And the production here is not good. I think it's objectively, this is one of the worst sounding Sevendust albums, I would say, easily. And it's coming off of the heels of what I think is one of the best sounding albums in Truth Killer. And so, you know, that's where a lot of the disappointment comes from, is obviously the way that it sounds. And I didn't allow myself to enjoy most of those songs very much at all because of the way it was mixed. And that's just how I am programmed. I couldn't get past it because it was so bad to me. And so that is such a big disappointment. And I am so sorry to anyone that was hoping that this reaction was going to be nice, fun, happy time, all listening to Sevendust here together to praise the album for as I would hope it should have, you know, as I wanted it to be praised. But unfortunately, I just couldn't do that. And so I apologize, but it is what it is. And we are true to who we are here on this channel. We do not fake liking something to get a moment or a click or a view or whatever. We are who we are here. And I would never lie and say that I liked something that I didn't. And I would never overly say that something is worse than I think that it is. And sometimes when I'm going back and editing the videos and I'm listening to the album a second time as I'm editing the video, I do think that I was a little too harsh on it. And sometimes in that case, I will put like a message in the video or something and be like, I actually didn't enjoy this, or I enjoyed this more than I was thought at the time. So if that's the case, I will have been putting messages throughout the video here, but I just don't think that's going to be the case. And it's a bummer to me. And Sevendust is one of these bands that can do that. Like it's such a bummer that you can release such a fantastic album. And then in my opinion, objectively, such a downgrade from Truth Killer. And I'm not saying Truth Killer was perfect. I don't know if Sevendust has a perfect album, but I do think Truth Killer was a step in the right direction, a big step in the right direction, production-wise, the way it sounded, performance-wise, catchiness of the songs, like songwriting and everything. I really enjoyed all of that. And I was really hoping to enjoy the songwriting on this album and what they were leaning into thematically. And I was even, like I said at the beginning of the video, I was prepared to accept the fact that maybe they weren't going to use as many sprinkles and things like that. And yet they did. They did use the sprinkles. There were moments during every chorus. There were strings. There were things underneath the songs. You just really couldn't hear any of them because of the fact that everything was like in a soup. Everything felt soupy. It felt like it was all mixed together, and you couldn't pull any definition out of any one thing, with maybe the exception of the vocals. I do think the vocals, like I said, were given the most care and love on this album, and then the fact that all the high frequencies were pulled out of the mix entirely is a bummer, but that is what it is. So thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for giving this video a shot. If for some reason this is your first Sevendust video ever, you've never heard Sevendust before, please go listen to any of their other albums. Listen to this one again if you enjoyed it and you were mad at me the whole time. I want Sevendust to continue being a band and to continue growing and to continue releasing fantastic albums. I'm not happy that they released this and that I'm so disappointed in it. And who cares what I think anyway at the end of the day, right? I mean, that's neither here nor there, but unfortunately that's how I feel. This is how I feel about the album. So, but yeah, go check out any other Sevendust stuff. I'll throw on probably Hope and Sorrow tonight, or even listen to Truth Killer again. I listened to the first half of it last night when I was laying in bed as I was getting excited for this. So I'll just maybe listen to the second half of that tonight. But yeah. Dang it. All right. Thank you everybody for checking out the video. Thank you for being here. show Sevendust some love on however you do that, whatever social media platform you have, because I think that this is an important album to them, and I hope that they feel good about it. And I can't wait for the next one. And I mean that honestly. I very much looking forward to the next Sevendust album. If if they're on this kick of great album, not great album, great album, not a great album, the next album should be the best album they've released, I guess. So that's one way to look at it, I guess. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.